just going to do 2 tips about showing time. So you do need to get into the MLS. So can you see my MLS screen?
We can.
Okay. So you do want to go to tools, to showing time. I'm going to encourage you to do this while I'm doing this, because I think it's helpful. Share this tab instead. Can you see my showing time?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So the first thing I want to talk about is under your picture, and no comments that my picture is 17 years old. You guys can all I'm ready for a new picture, but I want to lose 100 pounds and get a facelift and all that before I do it. So since that's not happening in 17 years, I'm sticking with the old one. Okay, in here, I think it's important that your profile is set up properly. And this kind of drives me nutty when the other agents that I'm doing business with don't have this set up right, because if they're setting up an appointment or something, or I want to reach them via showing time and they don't have this right, they're not going to get my messages of, hey, make sure you lock the patio door, or, hey, we have multiple offers, or hey, there's a price reduction. So I'd encourage everybody to have their correct information in here. So that's your first thing. Then if you scroll down, this is where you start getting into showing preferences. Okay, so we've got allow agents to request appointments online. Yep, that's a no-brainer. If you hit no, that's when you get those ones where you're on the MLS and you have to call to make an appointment. Drive you nuts, you know, and people that are doing that. And that probably would happen with some of the for sale by owner type groups, or, you know, something unique where somebody's not using any kind of technology. But you want to make sure that you've got that checked as yes. And then you have the drop down of in-person and virtual appointments. Obviously, we want in-person and virtual. If they want to do a virtual, I guess that's up to them. I don't even know how you do a virtual. Anybody know how you do a virtual appointment anymore? Anyway, I loved COVID. It was so great because we could work lighter and I went walking every day. But one of the negative things that came out of COVID was that we had these tiny little 15-minute appointments and they weren't overlapping. And now that we're done with COVID, it's still super annoying that a lot of people have their appointment defaults to making like you can only do 15 minutes or you can't overlap. So this is where I want you to go in and set up your showing. So yeah, this one, you know, obviously an appointment is required. If it's a go and show, we can have it set up as a go and show per listing, you know, so you can, this is just your standard would be appointments required. And then allow showings to overlap. Yes. And you don't need to inform those other agents. You know, we're not in times where people are so afraid to be seen in the same house at the same time. We do open houses with multiple people there at the same time. There's no reason that showings couldn't happen that way. If you have a personal preference that, you know, you only want one, you know, group in the house at a time, that's up to you, but it could cause you to have somebody not come. And what if you canceled somebody's showing because they were going to overlap with somebody else, and then the first person, you know, decided not to show up, and then you had no showing. So it's better, I think, to just let them come to the house. So without being so restrictive. Then I have no overlap limit. So we just had somebody in this office right here who had open house with about 100 people there. And if we had, and it went way high in multiples, and I'm sure that gave a lot of excitement. So let's not, you know, limit our number of people that can get in there. Then I don't need any buffer time in between showings. It's not like we're gonna go, okay, that's showing left, and now we're gonna wipe down the whole house and refresh. So no buffer time. And then I choose do not share with the client who that agent is. I don't like the thought that I might have some control freak client that wants to call every agent themselves. So I just don't put that information in there. So I'm opposed to that. Then if we go down a little farther, this is how you want to be notified of these appointments. This is for you. So I wanted to get an email. I don't need a text on every appointment. I check my email regularly. So, you can check whatever you want here. But this is how I have my settings, that I want an email of, okay, when was one requested? When did it get confirmed? And I just kind of watch that way. You can also not have it come here and you just check your showing time app. But I like to know when appointments are requested, because I want to see, did my seller see it? Have they not confirmed it? It's a great way for me to also, send them a quick text like, hey, did you see you have a 4 o'clock request? Is that going to work for you? Do you remember how to approve it? If they can't approve it, or they're not at their, not able to do it right now, then I can do it for them. So that's why I kind of like to stay in the know. And so these are the settings that I've chosen. And then I also want them emailed any changes to the showing instructions. So if all of a sudden now I'm going, okay, that he didn't get the dog out of the house, I want to, let this person know there's a dog in a kennel, I changed something, that's where that would get blasted out. And this one, I don't actually know what the enable secure access is, if that's an extra, remember how we used to have those extra codes on top of the, so it might be that. And then requesting feedback from the showing agent. So you can, I like this feedback because it goes straight to my client. I have it set up to publish straight to the client. And it goes out 3 times and it's 1 per day. So for 3 days, we'll ask them. Now, if you want to, how many of you are having trouble getting feedback? Anybody? I think
Yes.
we do. Yeah. So if you want to keep harassing somebody, you want it to go out 5 times, go ahead. I don't care. So,
Can I jump in really quick?
yep.
Also, what I find is if you're not getting the feedback, if you change, if you do it through, the Edina one, when you're like, okay, I'm feeling like I need to, changing that subject to something that's not basic, like pretty please, or seller requested, or, whatever, something that's catchier than feedback.
Yeah. And then the other thing about feedback is on this, in your showing time app, I think you guys all know this, but all the feedbacks that you haven't completed still sit there for you to complete them, even if the house is sold. So it does stay there for you. And I think that that's a positive. I actually wanted to, where is the setting? We're going to keep going down a little farther.
Lisa, can I interrupt a second? This is
Yep.
Kat. I have had several of the other agents that, have shown my properties say, if I'm using the Edina feedback and I've checked it in showing time, they get multiple requests and
Yeah.
they've already filled it out.
Yeah, and that drives them nuts. So pick one.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. Pick one. And, I find that getting feedback is really hard. Now people were used to, houses sold in a day and it didn't matter what the feedback was, or, they weren't sure because the prices were skyrocketing and people were like, I didn't even think it could sell for that. So their feedback didn't matter. Feedback matters today. And if you are going to show somebody's house, I think having the fact that they've allowed you in, they've cleaned, they've prepped for it, it's just professional to give the feedback. And, some people can handle honest feedback, some can't, but I think it's just good if you give something, politely. That's good. If you want to send something more critical, you can ask the agent. If you want more critical feedback, I'm happy to give it, but not post it on the seller's site. So, okay, so these are all these notifications of, when these appointments are received, but we're down here at this appointment scheduling, and this is the one that is the point of this tech tip today. Default appointment for new appointments for any showing is 1 hour. Okay. Now that you can show 4 or 5 houses in a row, you do need to have more than a 15-minute or a 30-minute gap, because you could get the person who spends an hour in each house. You could get somebody who's late. You could run into traffic. You just don't know. And having an hour, giving people an hour to schedule 4 or 5 in a row, and maybe sometimes they're on the early side and sometimes they're on the late side, but 15 minutes or 30-minute defaults, it's too limited, way too limited. And I have changed this as our office default. Avalon, who runs our office in this way, we as an office have chosen to go to an hour default. But if you want to change this per listing, you can. 15-minute, 30-minute, 45, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. And we get some agents who, especially on vacant properties or go and show, that have said to us, just give them 2 hours to get in and out. We're okay with that. And so you can individually per listing change this, but this is our standard. And I believe that this was a negative that came out of COVID, that we went to 15 minutes and 30 minutes, and people don't even know how to change it, and they're lazy and they haven't looked into it. And I think it harms your seller when you make it that limited, and they miss their time and they can't get a hold of anybody to see if they could still come, and maybe then they don't go in because they're worried about opening the lockbox at a time that wasn't theirs. And we do have some lockboxes that won't open now if you're not on your time. So we have agents that have set that up where it's like, you don't get the code until 10 minutes before you're showing, and then it expires. So I don't know if you guys have run into that, but when I've been out showing houses, I have run into that. So you want to give them some leeway. Then here, I don't have a central lock, so no, I can do anything with the Supra iBox, so that's yes. And I don't have a HUD key. So those are what we've got going there. And then here's how, notifications on offers you've submitted, you want to push that out all the ways that you can. Otherwise, mainly everything I do is email. I also love this little checkbox that I'm not sending communication at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. I get people like certain vendors, etc., that ding my cell phone with a text at 5 a.m. They need to be fired. They don't have their settings that they're leaving people their privacy to sleep. So your phone buzzes or rings and you think it's an emergency. Somebody's texting you at that hour. We have ours set up standard to be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. so that you're not sending a notification to anyone's phone outside of, awake hours. So I would say make sure that you have that set, because it's just kind of rude. I know we work all hours, but we don't need to work from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Then anyway, there's my email. So that's got my mobile access, and any other personal information you want to put in here, you can. It's not necessarily needed, but this is where you have your settings, and I think it's important. One other little thing that I thought was interesting as I'm reading this, if you go into the help, there's a knowledge base section. And do I have to do this? Okay. And this was so interesting to me in this knowledge base section. I hope you guys can see that. And there's a reactivate a showing. So, you know, when you get a showing and maybe that's not the right word. Let me see if I'll just do showings. You get a showing and the seller says, oh, I declined it. And then you're like, but now they're willing to show it. And you're telling the other agent, oh, can you re-enter the whole thing again? You don't have to do that. You can actually go back in and reactivate it. And the directions are all in here. I'm looking for it right now. Agent showings I've requested. Where is it? Shoot, not finding it now, but I'm going to show you how to do it if I remember. I did this one last night. So I think you can go to, where did I go? 1 second. No, I'm going to go to listings. I think I click, so you go to any of your listings. So here's, this one is one that's Angie's got it actually. And in here, I went into my listings and I went into the activity. And you can find, is this the one? Sorry, this one I did it a dozen times and sometimes I don't remember.
Chris, you're still on the help screen.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so now guys, I went into appointments on my listings. And do you see this one that's canceled? You can click on this. How did I do this last time? Dang it.
Try the view modified.
It isn't the view modify. I tried that one already. And there's a new pop-up that says reactivate, so you can change it. I'm gonna have to, let me try this one more time. I went this way. Let me just try it real quick. That is so weird. I did it yesterday a dozen times, and of course I can't remember now. On my listings, sorry guys, just bear with me a minute. I meant to practice this one this morning, but you can take this canceled appointment. Oh. Hey, Abs, will you look this one up real quick? You can take a canceled appointment like this and you can click on it. I did it last night and you can reopen it up and get it back to from canceled to confirmed or whatever without them having to re-enter it. Instead of like going, okay, well, can you re-enter the whole thing? You can turn it back on. And I actually am sorry that I have this wrong. I'm going to go back to the help and pull that one back up. It was a picture I'd never seen before. I'm going to say react. It gives you an action plan. It says, what action do you want? And let me see what it's called. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that one, I had it. I don't know. Cannot remember. Dang it. I went to my dashboard. I actually, am I sharing again with you guys or not?
Yes.
Okay. To my dashboard. It's this one that's canceled. I tried to reactivate this, but it's not opening.
Reactivated archive listing.
Yeah, it's not that one.
Okay.
It's it is definitely reactivate a showing. And of course, 8 hours of sleep and I can't remember what I did last night. But I loved it because do you ever have that problem where it's like, and you're telling them, okay, can you re-enter the whole thing? You don't need to do that. You can just make it work. I am going to have to redo that one. Oh, no, it's reports. It's not feedback. It's not messages. There it is. I bet. View, cancel, change appointment on a specific listing. Yes. Okay. I know I did that way too fast. Can you guys see this screen where it says listing details, showing agent, and select an action?
Correct.
Okay. This select an action, which I don't even remember how I got here 2 seconds ago. This is where you can reopen that appointment. And I can hit reopen and now it can go back to where we can confirm it. Now in this case, she canceled her own appointment. So obviously I don't want to, but I love that because, there's often mistakes, oh, they declined it, didn't mean to. Can you re-enter the whole thing again? Or you don't, they don't, there are people that have trouble scheduling appointments in the first place. So this makes it handier. But I was surprised to see this section because I had never seen it before. Have any of you seen this before? Bueller? Anybody?
Oh, it's new to me.
No.
Yeah, how did I do this? Oh, office staff can do this too for you. I just was notified, so you don't need to do it yourself. Did you know how to do this before, Evelyn?
I do it through tasks, but yes.
You
We
do
have
it
a-
through tasks?
We have tasks now.
Okay, so the admins have a thing called task and they can go and reset that. So if something gets goofed up, you have the ability to, okay, fix it without having to have the whole thing re-entered. So how did I do that, guys? I went to showings, new showing. And then I went through on a specific listing. And then I picked that listing that I knew has had some cancellations. And then the one that hit says canceled. It could say declined. It could say anything. That's where I went and clicked on it. And then you can have the select an action. So should I do that again? It's under new showing. View, cancel, change, cancel appointment on a specific listing. And then pick your listing and whatever appointment you want to fix. And you can do that from your phone too, but it's far easier from your laptop. Oh, wow. We went 26 minutes. Holy moly. Helpful or not helpful?
It's very helpful.
Okay.
Yep, helpful.
So sorry about the little snafu, my own little memory. But I think Showing Time has a lot more things in here. When I was going through this knowledge base, there is a lot in here that it can do that is probably worth digging into a little bit. Oops. When you're in the knowledge base, you can type in all kinds of questions. And then there's, what's new, training, appointment scheduling, things that are really helpful. It's a pretty good tool. I mean, it's way better than when we used to have. Remember when they'd have to call in, we'd have to check that they're licensed. This has streamlined a lot of things for us and the seller, and to keep track of showings. It's such a great way that they know when the showings are, and there's no issue. You can't say, oh, the agent didn't call me and tell me I was showing. No, they've got a tracker right on their phone. So I think it's a fantastic tool. That's all I got today.
Thank you.
Nice nuggets. This is great. I'll take a few minutes and plug next week. I will be running it, and we are going to talk about being able to send out mass texts to clients, anybody, basically. A lot of us have events coming up, and I'll be covering that and the how-to through Bold Trail.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Chris. Good
You're
job.
welcome. Thanks.
Great.
All right. That's it. See you next week, friends.
Bye-bye.
Bye.